Hello, everyone. It has been a very long time since off season. At least it feels like it's been a long time. I guess technically it extended through the beginning of January, but I did a bunch of off season coverage back in November where I was making crazy predictions. Then I was making less crazy predictions as we got closer, and I thought it would be really fun. I've had the idea to do this video for a bit. It just took me a while to actually get to it, of going back and looking at how well I did. Looking at both the earliest crazy projections that I made, or not projections, but guesses. Then looking at some of the early things, where I was like, I think this is going to be it. And then obviously looking at the ones that I locked in right before the trade window opened on November 15th. So that's what we're going to do over the course of this to sort of see how well I did. So this was before Worlds was even done. I did a video called 10 Wild and Fun Trade Predictions for this year's League off season. Without further ado, I've got 10 of these. Number 1, a top EU jungler, probably inspired, joins North America. Boom. Immediately got that one right. We're giving me a point for that. Alfari, Sword Art, and Perks all leave North America. Okay, we got that one right. No teams will change their spending profile except maybe TSM or EG. This, I think I also got right. I'm trying to think if anybody really changed. I don't think there's anybody in the bottom half of the league that changed their spending profile. And in the top half, I guess it's hard to say where EG spent compared to last year. They might have spent a little bit more. But even if that's true, I did end up getting that right. And TSM, I definitely think is spending way less. So we're going to call that correct. Prediction number 4. And this one, again, kind of like the Esports Maniacus thing. But I think we've heard many years in the past, Vitality wants to make a super team. I said that Vitality would make a super team, and I think it's safe to say that they did. So we're going to go 4 for 4 so far in my wild crazy predictions. Cloud9 has big shakeups that they will sell the contracts for either Blabber or Fudge or both. So that was my first misfire. So I think early on I had anticipated that they would take that talent and place them someplace else. And then they ended up actually continuing to build around those. So right now we're only at 4 out of 5. Okay, this one I don't know if you guys will think it's spicy or not, but I think Santorin will stay with TL. I know some of you might think like that's so obvious, but his contract is up right now. Santorin stays with TL. So we're at 5 out of 6. We get to more spicy ones here in a second. Number 7. A top EU ADC, probably Hansama, joins North America. I don't think, like I say probably Hansama, I don't think it'll be Reckless. I know a lot of people are all about the Reckless stuff. I think if it does happen, it'll probably be Hansama. We're at 6 out of 7 now. 6 out of 7, because Hansama did end up joining. Prediction number 8. Bjergsen leaves TSM to either C9, EG, or TL. If he joins TL, Jensen will role swap to ADC. All right, I'm giving myself half a point for this. If only for multiple reasons. Maybe I should give myself more than half a point. But this was the one that kind of got me in trouble with this video, because I did make this based off of like crazy calls or something like that. And there was like the most faint rumor about Jensen potentially going ADC. But so many people did not think, at this time, everyone was just assuming Bjergsen was re-signing. Prediction number 9. If EG doesn't get Bjergsen, you'll see them go with a very young roster. So this one, I think I still deserve a full point for this. Because even though they're keeping Impact and they've got, I guess, Inspired, right? And that was some of the bigger stuff that they did. And they brought Vulcan over. I do know that like the big thing in the offseason that we talked a lot about was obviously that they could have gone with that roster with Jensen and with Doublelift. But they made a concerted decision to rally behind 2 very young players in Danny and Jojo Pion. And so, and specifically, I had said that if they didn't get Bjergsen, and obviously instead of getting Bjergsen, they went with like a very, very young player. So I think that deserves a full point.
But the big prediction is, if Bjerg leaves TSM, Spica doesn't stay on TSM either.
Okay, so I get this one wrong. I got this one wrong. There's not too much I think I can say about this one other than that, like, there's definitely been some rumors that Spica is there because he's under contract. I don't know if that's true. Maybe he loves being on TSM. None of that, like, I haven't heard anything concrete enough that I could come out and be like, Spica's in contract hell. I don't think he is. I think he's happy to be playing with this lineup, but I don't know. I don't feel too bad about this one, even though I'm not going to give myself a point for it. So that's how I did on the crazy predictions. But on November 4th and on November 15th, I did 2 more big videos where I talked about all the different teams. There was some other coverage, and I think I talked about some stuff on Hotline League. But let's just focus on those because one of them was the day of free agency starting, basically like right before it went live, and then the other one was a couple weeks before. So it's kind of a fun balance to sort of look at both. The thing I'm going to be doing is looking at my predictions for each of the teams in both of these. So we'll start with the first set of predictions I made on November 4th, then the other on November 15th. But first, let me tell you about this. Just a quick sponsor break to let you guys know that you can get a free game right now, and it will actually help the channel if you do this. It helps me out. All you need to do is click the link in the description for Prime Gaming, because right now they are giving away Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, a really cool game, AAA game that came out not too long ago, and you can actually get it if you have Prime Gaming. A lot of you probably know that you can get cool stuff with them in League and all that stuff, but you can also get games that they give away, and this is one example of a game that they're giving away this month. So go click the link, and it'll bring you to this page. All you need to do is hit claim now. If you're logged in, it'll allow you to get the code if you're a Prime member, and then there'll also be instructions on how you can redeem the CD key. It's basically a CD key. Obviously, nobody does CDs anymore. It's basically a game key. You can just redeem it and get the full game for free. So it's awesome. You get a free game. It helps support the channel. Thank you to Prime Gaming for sponsoring the video, and we'll catch you next time, Prime.
90% certainty, unless something's crazy wrong on my end or goes wrong last minute for TL, somebody backs out or something. The TL roster, Bwipo, Santorin, Bjergsen, Hansama, Core JJ.
All right, so I had it right on November 4th, so we don't even need to look at November 15th because I continue to just say the same thing.
Almost certain they're keeping Impact. Almost certain both Contracts and Sven are out. I mean, like, almost certain. I understand both of those players are looking for teams, and I hope both of them find teams because I think they're both great. I think there's a decent chance that they land Inspired. They're still figuring stuff out.
So I hadn't locked in
Inspired's
Jensen.
one of the folks that could end up there, and I think Jensen is likely. I know I said earlier on Hotline League that I was worried for Danny. Since then, I've heard that it looks as though he's staying. Ignar possibly staying, so...
Ignar did not stay.
Impact.
Okay, so let's see how I did on November 15th.
Boom. EG I talked about previously. Impact, Inspired, Jojo, Danny, and Vulcan.
So there you go. I had it correct. I had Inspired, Impact, and Danny. I think a lot of people had assumed weeks before that Jensen would be here. He didn't end up happening, but I was still able to lock in Jojo by the day of, and then obviously Vulcan as well. So pretty good on the EG front.
Hard to say. I don't know if they're going to make any changes, though. The one that I have heard rumored is that they will run a 6-man roster with Tenacity.
So 6-man roster with Tenacity ended up being correct, which is what I also think I said on November 15th, so we don't have to necessarily check it. But that one isn't too crazy. I feel like a lot of people didn't expect them to make too many changes, but we'll feel good about that.
I had originally heard Revenge might be out, though since then it sounds like Revenge and Xerxes are both staying with Immortals. I can say that with pretty high levels of confidence. And also with pretty high levels of confidence, I can say Insanity and Raze are out. They've both, I believe, publicly said that they're exploring options. Gyoto, their coach, is apparently in high demand from top teams. Now, he's under contract.
Okay, so we knew that Gyoto was on the verge of doing something else on the 4th, and we also had a decent idea about who some of the players that were staying. What did we know by the final day?
Revenge, Xerxes, PoE, Wild Turtle, and Destiny. Destiny I'm putting at 50% confidence. I previously, until this morning, had him at green.
I'm a little disappointed in myself that I didn't have Destiny in green. I think Even in this video, I might say something about how like I'm pretty sure, but I could have just gotten that one right.
On to Dignitas. No idea what this team's deal is. Feels like they're all over the place. I don't know if they have a coach.
Okay, so I didn't know what they were doing. I don't fault myself because it seemed like they decided stuff pretty late. Let's see what I had from them on the final day.
Some bonus points here because I've got a projection for coach. Dig has Anatron coming in from Europe. Fake God staying. River from PSG. I don't know if I've heard anybody mention that so far. Blue from SK. Neo sticking around. And then my first 10% confidence, which is Biofrost.
You should have been more confident, Travis. You should have just gone for it. You should have just locked that shit. I don't actually fault myself too much for only putting at 10% confidence, but I'm actually really impressed that I was able to do this well with the Dig stuff because I think a lot of their stuff was fluid pretty late, but we got this one right.
Takuli is supposedly their mid laner. I'm almost absolutely certain on that. Jose Dioto is rumored to leave, though this is like a potential area where I could see like Sven or Contracts going in, though Contracts has a potential other landing place. And then supposedly they're trying out top laners this week. Among the names that I've heard that are being tried out are Hanser and Jenkins.
Okay, I got that one. Not great, but let's see how I had it by the final day.
FlyQuest. We have Kumo, Jose Dioto, Takuli, Johnson, and Athramu.
So we had it right by the day of. That's pretty good. We got a pretty good track record so far.
Licorice and Olive are almost certainly staying, is my understanding. I believe Chime is gone. And then one of the rumors says that they're going to import a jungler. And then it's unsure on Stixay. Might be a situation where with other players like Tactical, for instance, who you didn't hear mentioned in the Team Liquid lineup, could slot in here. They could try to go after Sven.
We didn't know Lost, we didn't know Ole, but we knew Import Jungler, we knew Licorice and Blaze were staying. And on the day of...
Licorice, Pride Stalker, Olive, Lost, and Ole.
So we got it right by the day of.
There's a very good chance they end up with something along the lines of Finn, Contracts. This is the likeliest place for Contracts to land. Palafox, mid. And then Luger and Poom.
Okay. This is actually secretly maybe my favorite thing that I did during the offseason is that on November 4th, I got, like weeks before free agency, I think before most people knew about this, I had 4 out of 5 of their players. Like, that is crazy. One, it speaks to how early CLG knew what their roster was going to be. But, yeah, like, I even then I was like, I know something's going to flex. And so then Finn didn't make it over. Obviously, he's back in LEC. But I feel really good about this. And I'm pretty sure that by the day of...
We've got Jenkins, Contracts, Palafox, Luger, and Poom.
And by the day of, we had it correct.
I think this is the most likely place that Tactical will land. Because then you don't have to import an ADC. There's a chance maybe they run Lost again, but Speaka and Tactical are great friends. They just tweeted the other night that they were hanging out almost as like a bit of a tease. So I think that this is the most likely place for him. I think there's a decent chance they run Huni again, and then they would likely import, my guess would be, in mid and support. I've heard that they're importing in mid, which is why I don't believe Jensen is landing here and why most people don't believe Jensen is landing here. I'm not sure if they know who they're getting at for all these positions, so
I don't think they did. Okay, let's see how I did here. I would like you to watch this, enjoy this great expression that I'm making here. We could just look at what I freeze framed here because I just waxed philosophically on it. TSM didn't know what their roster was going to be at this point in time, so there was no way for me to know it. I do feel good about locking in Huni and Speaka. I wish obviously the Tactical was green, but we had no idea what was happening in mid and support, so it's fine.
But there's rumors they're going to promote multiple academy players to their lineup. I'm very, very confident that Sven is out. I'm fairly confident that Vulcan is out. At least he's on the market, is my understanding. Is that, and he tweeted the McDonald's meme the other day, so perhaps that's part of it.
So on the C9 side, very clearly I had no idea what was going on November 4th. Obviously, I think Bjergsen had been talking to C9 at some point in time. It fell through. I wonder what the timeline was on when they pivoted over to LS. But let's take a look at this final prediction, and I actually think there's a fun little conversation we can have at the end about how this stuff works.
There might be a last minute change. And so yesterday, it seemed like it was common knowledge. I was hearing from all sorts of people I did not expect to hear from, that C9's roster was locked and that it was Summit, Blabber, Fudge, Sven, and Isles. There's a video on the channel. I tweeted out, etc. Tyler's saying that he's hearing, Fiona's hearing, that their bot lane is not there. And based off of my understanding, Sven, I know some people are like, oh, it's going to be like Teddy or something. I continue to hear that Sven is safe. If there's any kind of rumor, it might be that Isles might not be there. Some people are speculating that like the Vulcan deal may fall through last minute, or that there might be a swap between Destiny and Isles. That's why I put Destiny as yellow. But it's just tough. It's tough because I'm not... if it's happening like right now as I record it, like it's falling through. We're going to keep Isles there, and this will be my shame if something does change. It's not really shame because, again, like all my sources were... I was only reporting what my sources were telling me last night, which everyone seemed to feel as though that 5-man lineup was done.
So this is great. I got a lot of shit for this because shortly after this, I think within a couple days, it was reported that obviously there was other stuff happening. I did sneak one funny thing here. I want to find it, though.
And for bonus points, here's my 50% confidence on their coaching staff.
Okay, so there's a lot to dig into here. First off, I got a lot of shit. Even just people trying to come after me for not being completely perfect with this green. And it was reported later on that Sven was not going to be playing and like the Isle stuff wasn't happening or whatever. And obviously we heard some other stuff that came about, which we can now look at their roster for this year, the one that they're planning on playing in LCS, and see what's happened. The other thing that I feel really good about is I'm the first person, I think, to even suggest publicly that LS was headed to C9. I put it at 50%, but I feel pretty damn good about dunking on that. But looking at this lineup, this was their lineup. There's a lot of discussion in the offseason about people, like the way I go about things, and sometimes I say stuff early or whatever. I don't think I even said this early. I would have, if I was at Yahoo, if I was at GameSpot, if I was at any place that does the stuff and I had like had the sources I had, we would have ran this story. Sometimes things change even after you report things. And there's a really great video that I'm so happy exists to help explain that.
You guys know that Travis Gafford, he got a lot of shit for the report that he did, right? He got a lot of shit from a lot of people in the community. Travis Gafford's report was correct. I overturned that. So his report was totally correct, and then enter me, and the whole thing just goes belly up. And it happened so quickly that I don't think you can even fault him for it.
We love LS. Okay, first off, thank you to LS for saying that. This is a great example of the way this stuff works, because you can only report what is true at the time. This is all just to say that the off-season stuff is fairly fluid, and you can see that reflected in the way that this video went down. Anyway, thank you so much for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it, and looking forward to seeing you next off-season as I continue to cover this stuff.
It's a new year, which means it's a new you, which means maybe you need a new computer or a new monitor or some new accessories. There's a bunch of cool stuff that just got announced, actually, that Alienware's coming out with soon. But right now, why don't you do me a favor and celebrate the new year by doing something maybe I've asked you to do before on a couple of occasions, which is to click the link in the description below and head over to alienware.com/Travis to take a look at all the awesome stuff over at Alienware's website, where you can pick up something swell to get ready for 2022. Thanks to them for their support and their sponsorship of our content.